Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucky Loads 15, and in this video we're going to be previewing day 2 of the Dante Festival at York. It's been a mixed bag for us today. We had a nice winner with Give and Take. That was the only thing really that went well for us today. Give and Take was a good performance for William Haggis and James Doyle in the Oaks trial. Now, going forward, would you think that horse will be a good horse for the future? Possibly. It did battle on very well, but maybe it's probably not going to make the frame at the Oaks, and it was quite a weak race, but it was a nice performance, and we tipped it up last night 4-1, and there was some value in that. I was always confident it was probably going to win the race. I thought it was the one they all had to beat, and it proved to be that way. Away from that though, I thought it was a really frustrating day for us. I thought World Order, which ran okay for Declan Carroll and James Doyle, did show a good turn of foot, but in the end finished second. That was a little bit frustrating there, but the main frustration today came in the handicaps. I thought Banksy, yeah, you could put a line for it, you can forgive him for that, but the others were just hard luck stories. So many hard luck stories today. Golden Apollo was probably the most disappointment. He had the good draw down the stand side, and that's where the majority of the horses that made the frame came from today, and he was so blocked in his running, he had nowhere to go, and it was really in the last half furlong that he was travelling really well, and he really picked up the pieces, and he was running on really strongly. I believe he might have even been second from last in the race, going to about a furlong and a half, and he passed nearly about 10 horses in the last half a furlong to finish round about in 8th place, I think it was in the end. But it'll be interesting to see that horse for future races. I think you can often get quite a few hard luck stories at York, and that was definitely an exception there. Also as well, Desert Doctor, I thought he got kind of blocked in running. He never really got a path, and again, same kind of story, was running on late at the end, beating a few horses at the end, and really it was just really frustrating because every time they were looking to make a run, their path was blocked, and they really had to settle for kind of minor honours in the end and finish midfield at best, and it was always frustrating really because they were always running on. And also as well, Armadian at the last, same kind of thing, travelled really well throughout the race, coming into the home turn, and when he needed to make a move to make the frame, again, he had no passage, and that was the way it went for us today. And you kind of can get that at York, like we just said, and in those handicaps as well, when there's so many runners and it's really tight track, it's always going to be hard to get racing room unless you're prominent in the race, in my opinion. So that's how today's selections ran. Also as well, Tasleet, we did fancy him for the big feature race today, but unfortunately he became a non-runner. But it was a good performance by Harry Angel, and it'll be interesting to see how he kicks on for the rest of the season. Anyway, enough of me waffling on now. We'll get stuck into tomorrow's action, where we'll preview all 7 races. Also as well, the feature race tomorrow is the Dante, the Derby trial, and we'll give you my thoughts and feelings on that a little bit later on in the video. But we start tomorrow with the first race on the card at York in the 220 with a horse called Holmeswood. Round about 16-1 with bookmakers at the moment, trained by Michael Dodds. Paul Mulrennan is booked for the ride tomorrow. Now this horse has got some good course form. It finished first over course and distance last time, where it was a dead heat at the Ebor Festival last time it ran at York, and that was a very good performance that day, and it was a pretty progressive horse last season. It ran a few times on good ground, and it seemed to like it. It racked up a few wins together as well, and was very progressive. On its seasonal reappearance, you could probably forgive it. It was at Pontefract, and especially over the 5 furlongs, it's always a hard race there at Pontefract, unless you're very well drawn, which I don't think Holmeswood was. It's always going to be an uphill struggle because it's a very tight track. They go around a corner with a couple of furlongs left to go, and if you're near the front, then you've got a good chance, but if you're coming off the pace, it's always really hard at Pontefract, so you can probably forgive him that run. Also as well, the form of that race has worked out not too bad. El Astronaute ran a very good race at Chester last week, and a couple of others ran okay in that race, so wasn't maybe the worst reappearance ever, and you like to think it'd probably come on for that run as well. And I thought tomorrow, around about 16-1 bookmakers, he might not be a bad each way bet to kick us off. Also as well, he's got the stand side draw, which should help. It's often good to be there over the straight 5 furlongs and use kind of the stand side rail as a guide. He's drawn in 15 tomorrow, and I thought that wasn't bad there. Moving on to the next race in the 255, and again a little bit of a tight contest here, but I'm going for class on paper, and that's with Coronet. Round about 9-4 best odds at the moment, trained by John Gosden. Frankie Dettori takes the ride. I think he's going to have a good day tomorrow. This horse offers the best piece of form in this race by a country mile, with its second to Enable in the Yorkshire Oaks last year. And yes, it is dropping down in trip tomorrow. I've seen a few of the pundits saying, well, I'm a bit unsure why it's going down to this, but it has won over this distance before. Also as well, lighter conditions are good to firm ground, because that's what it was last year when it raced against Enable, which is the best piece of form. I wasn't so keen on Maury. It was declared to run at Goodwood a couple of weeks ago, but didn't turn up in the end. And Sir Michael Stout's yard haven't really hit the ground running yet, so it'll probably be against Maury. And I thought Coronet was the most likely winner of the race, and that's going to be my selection in the 255. We then go to the Dante, and I thought it was quite a wide open renewal this year, but the one I liked and the one I backed last time in the Derby trial at Epsom was a horse called Baton. Now, around about 5-1 bookmakers at the moment, trained by John Gosden, and Frankie Dettori is booked for the ride in the colours of the Jubbmont partnership. Now, this horse, like we said, won at Epsom last time, and that form has been franked pretty well. The horse of William Haggis's, Lord and Master, and DXB of Mark Johnson's ran some good, credible races at Chester last week. Also, as well, I believe there was a horse in there called Simpson that ran a good race as well at Chester last week in a wide open handicap. So the form of that race has worked out not too bad. Also, as well, I thought the ground will help it, and I thought this horse tomorrow really had the mark of improver. I'll probably be against Roaring Lion, even though he did come back to some form in the Guineas. I don't think he wants further. I think he's better over the mile myself. Also as well, the danger I would say in the race to my selection is probably Mildenberger. The yard won it with Permian last year with the same owners, and I thought really that was probably the main danger. I thought it was between these two on paper, but for me, Baton in the Jubbmont partnership. Also as well, Lord Grimthorpe, I should say, is attached to that operation. Also as well, he's on the board of directors at York, and obviously he'll want to see that horse win tomorrow, and I thought it could do for him. So that's Baton, my big race selection tomorrow in the Dante. We then go to the 405 competitive handicap. Not really strong fancy from a betting perspective here, but one I thought could go well tomorrow was a horse called Afaak. It's around about 7-1 bookmakers at the moment, trained by Charlie Hills. Jim Crowley booked for the ride in the Godolphin Blue. Now, I thought this horse probably needed its reappearance at Newbury last time, where it finished in the midfield. And also as well, I thought maybe the ground was against it that day. It was described as good soft, and I thought if you looked at this horse's form last season, its best form came when the ground was a lot drier and really good to firm, and it's probably going to appreciate that tomorrow. Thought it was still well handicapped in this field, and I thought it could go really close tomorrow. And from an each way perspective, I thought 7-1, he should definitely make the frame. So that's my selection there. In the 435, again, quite a competitive renewal of this race. Thought Roussel was quite a good thing. Around about 13-2 with bookmakers at the moment, trained by Charlie Appleby, who had a nice winner today in the opening race at York. And William Buick is booked for the ride again in the colours of Godolphin Blue. Now, this horse made a fair reappearance, went in at odds on at Doncaster last time we saw it earlier this season, and it was really progressive last season, finishing second at Royal Ascot behind Sound and Silence, so it does reoppose tomorrow. But I thought that really Roussel was still unexposed, and it would definitely appreciate the quicker ground. So for me, I thought this one could spring a surprise against a couple of the market principles tomorrow, and I thought Roussel could go quite well. We then go to the 505, and again, this is kind of throwing at dartboard really. Anything could win this, but one that I did quite like that I thought was worth mentioning will be my selection in the race is Burning Lake. Round about 6-1 bookmakers at the moment, trained by Charlie Hills again, who won this race back in 2012. Jim Crowley booked for the ride. And this horse is closely related to quite a lot of good horses. It's related to some good French horses that are listed, and also as well group placed horses. And a couple of those have won at 2-year-olds as well. So it's good to know that there are 2-year-old winners in the breeding. Also as well, the stable won this race. He's run about 6-1 bookmakers at the moment. Connections paid up to €310,000 as a yearling for this horse. So they obviously regard it in high esteem. And I thought really Burning Lake could be a good one to go with tomorrow if you wanted to have a bet in the race. So that's going to be my selection in the 505. In the 535, the last race of the day, going with a horse here called Stone of Crows, making its stable debut for Ian Jardine tomorrow. It's around about 10-1 bookmakers at the moment. Used to be with Roger Charlton and ran in some good races last year. And also as well, we'll like the conditions tomorrow. If you look at his form last season, a lot of it came on good firm ground. Also as well, I know it's been off from the track for a little while, but I don't think that's no concern. It won fresh last year on its seasonal appearance at Salisbury in good style, and I thought Stone the Crows tomorrow could be a massive each way player at 10-1. He does have to step up and trip a little bit, so there could be one or two questions about his stamina. Pull more running those, but for the ride, a good capable jockey booking. And I thought this horse could go really close tomorrow, and I thought he was well handicapped in this field and he could make some improvement this year. So they're the selections for day 2 of the Dante Festival at York tomorrow. Let us know your predictions and what horses you'll be backing for the big race tomorrow in the comments box below. Also as well, please subscribe to my YouTube channel here at LuckyLoads15 if you haven't done so already. Please gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you soon.